One of these paintings looks flat and one doesn't. And the difference isn't technique or airbrush control, it's decisions about light. And problems like this usually happen when we start spraying before we really decide what the light is actually doing. So let's take a closer look at what's happening here. Looking at this painting, there are a few things that really stand out to me. And the first is the light direction is unclear. The shadow goes to the right, so we know the light must be coming from the left, but the sphere itself doesn't reinforce that clearly. Why? It's because almost the entire left half of the sphere is the same tone. It's the same brightness. So the viewer can't really tell if the light source is coming directly from the left or maybe from above the left, or is it just a diffused light? Nothing clearly answers that question. The other thing that stands out are the lack of darks. The sphere never really gets dark enough. The right side of the sphere should eventually reach a point where the surface is turning away from the light completely, and that area should be noticeably darker. But here, the dark side only gets slightly darker than the mid-tone values in the rest of the painting. The result is it feels soft instead of solid. Along the same lines, the contact shadow is far too weak. When I'm talking about the contact shadow, I'm talking about the portion where the sphere actually meets the surface that it's sitting on. That should be the darkest point in the entire painting, because that's where almost no light can get. Right now, that area is pretty much the same value or the same tone as the rest of the shadow. So the sphere feels like it's resting lightly, not actually sitting on the surface. So at this point, let's paint another version of the same sphere, but this time we will make the lighting decisions first. So as you can see, I've already started another sphere painting, and I took it to this point because this is the point where I'm going to begin working on the actual sphere, building that form and depth. So the first thing we need to determine is specifically where the light source is originating from. And for this painting, I'm going to say it's slightly above on the left side, somewhere in this area. And with that information, we can use that to create the form and the depth and really make this a lot more believable and not flat. So if we know the light source is coming from this direction, then the highlight is going to be in this upper quadrant. So I've mixed up another very light shade of gray, just going to build the suggestion of a little bit of a lighter area. If you can see on the screen, there's a very faint separation right along this line. This line will represent where the shape of the sphere begins turning away from the light. So the shadows, everything pretty much gets darker on this side. There will be a slight reflected highlight down low from the surface, but aside from that, pretty much everything else is going to be darker. I'm working in grayscale here. Very similar to the 4-value method video that you may have previously seen on the channel. So I've mixed all of these colors using Spray Gunner's no-name brand acrylic water-based paints. I'm working with these opaque mixed gray tones. It really allows you to sneak up on your darks and create those nice smooth transitions. Right now the changes are very subtle. I'm not trying to make it look dramatic yet. I'm establishing a direction based on the light source that we established early on. The form will continue to follow. And to get the very edge, I have a paper cut mask of this sphere that I can use to get this darkest edge pretty clean. You can see how dark this shade is comparatively. We don't need a lot of this color. It should recede from the other shades and tones that we've already created. At this stage, the form is really starting to lock in. So now I'm working on refining relationships rather than trying to create them. So now we have a more defined line where the shape is turning away from that light, but we can clean some of this up. So I'm going to go back to the original gray that I painted the sphere in. I don't want a harsh edge here. It can remain soft, but I do want it slightly more defined than what we have at this point. Well, we can also work on smoothing out some of the shadow down here, adding this secondary reflected highlight. Even add a little bit of that reflection to the surface. At this point, that's as dark as my first painting got. I think we can go slightly darker for the shadow on the sphere itself. This is that lightest gray that we started with. Kind of reinforce the highlight a little bit more after blending slightly darker gray into this section. I'm slightly concerned that I might have gone too dark on the shadow side, but I'm going to wait until we get the shadow established before I determine that. And for the shadow, I'm going to use just paper cutout, sort of mask off what we have here. I'm coming in with kind of a mid-tone, a little bit darker gray. Begin building our shadow out. So it would be darkest next to the sphere, and then it's going to blend outward. This time keeping closer to the sphere. You can see how that really blends out nicely. Now, as I mentioned previously, the contact shadow should be the absolute darkest portion of this entire painting. That's where the sphere is actually sitting on the surface. For that, I've actually got pure black in the airbrush, and this doesn't take very much. And you can really see how that slight amount of black really makes the sphere look like it's planted. It's actually sitting on that surface. And to really bring this home, we just need to add the final highlight. So for that, I've gone to straight white. And I'm just going to create a nice bright highlight. It's there, but it's faint, which is not a bad thing. It depends on the surface that you're trying to render. If you're trying to render a super smooth, reflective surface, then obviously your edges are going to be a little bit more crisp. Just trying to create a sphere. Doesn't have to be super smooth. As long as you are creating that illusion of form and depth. I think that's pretty good. I can clean up the edges for the background around the sphere where I've got some overspray in here. Did I go a little too dark over here? So when I first stepped back and viewed this painting from a distance, the shadow side felt slightly too heavy. And because I'm working with mixed opaque grayscale values, I can quickly test that instinct by moving the value toward a mid-tone. But this is where evaluation matters. Once that change was made, the sphere immediately lost some structural strength, which told me that the original darker relationship was actually closer to correct. So I recommitted to that darker value, not because darker is always better, but because in this specific lighting structure, the form actually required it. In the beginning, we looked at this painting and decided that it wasn't a technical failure, it was a lighting decision issue because the shadow side stays too close in value and the contact shadow never really anchors the form. In contrast, the second painting, once the value relationships were pushed far enough, this sphere became structurally believable. And even after that form was working, I still questioned whether the shadow side was a little bit too heavy. So I tested that decision by lifting the value slightly. I lightened it up. And that immediately weakened the form. So it told me that the darker relationship was needed for this particular lighting structure. So believability in your airbrush artwork isn't always about spraying smoother gradients. It's about deciding how light behaves and committing to value relationships that support that decision. So if your work ever feels flat, the first question you should probably ask is, have I clearly decided what the light is doing? And if you want to keep developing this decision-based approach to airbrushing, consider subscribing and follow along. Future lessons will continue building on how value, edge, and lighting decisions all work together to create believable form. I'm Trevor with Wicked Art Studio, and I will see you next time.